So, just before the season opener in Doha, let's take a look at the teams. Starting with Steinman Motorsports, the dominant team of the recent N19 regulations. This team looks to try and continue their momentum forward going into the new regulations. With car number 6, Nina Holtz looking to try and get her first championship with the German manufacturer, and Harry Chapman from the UK, car number 44, looking to try and keep his dominant streak going. Both drivers are incredibly talented and looking to try and be the next champion in this new regulation cycle. With young rookie Pascal Becker, the German, waiting in the wings should one or both of them fall out, given their previous history with each other. But this team is looking very strong after preseason testing and looks to continue going forward. To tell the story of Scuderia Rossini would be to tell several books, but the main gist of it is they are eager and ready to win a championship at long last. With team leader Dieter Wexler in car 5 and former champion in his own right Neil Sari in car 7, the two drivers are looking to try and show that this team, that Rossini, isn't done and they're ready to get back up to the top. Can they finally prove that, though, is another story entirely for this team. Panther Race Team. One of the more hit and miss teams of the N19 regulations. This team is looking to try and make a comeback after a very disappointing time with them, where they only scored one championship. Car 3, Zoe Sharp, has a lot to prove for herself and for the team, whereas Car 26, Nikolai Sirkov, has a lot to prove to keep his seed with a lot of hot prospects further down the grid and in the lower formula. Can this team, with their new Mersault V10 engine and a new aero design, finally get back up to the front of the grid? With new investment, the Catano team are back with a slightly new name, a new pink livery, but the same old but experienced drivers. Javier Vasquez, car 14, and car 22, Jenny North. With young prospect Jens Bergman waiting in the wings if one or both of the drivers are to retire after this season, if the rumors are to be believed. The Sakura group has bought into the team to help the Katano outfit out after their dreadful time previously as a full works operation. They're still getting work support from Katano, hence the name of Sakura Katano, but their engines have appeared to have been a bit off the pace in preseason testing, being some 30 horsepower down on the lead runners. Will that affect the good chassis though of this team is to be determined. Buying out the ever illustrious Windsor team, Hyundai make their appearance in the big time with the same driver lineup that they carried at the end of the last set of regulations, and the same team principal of Claire Windsor herself. With new investment, will this team finally be able to get back up to the top of the order, a position they haven't seen for almost 10 years for over 10 years at this point? With car 77, Aki Lippin leading the charge, and experienced veteran Anne Oliveira in car 19. They're looking to try and make their way back up the order. But will the South Korean manufacturer be able to provide them the success they so desperately need? Time will tell with this new partnership. A new team from South America and a returning manufacturer in Jaguar. Aztec Jaguar looked to be the first true Mexican team to take part in the series, with Wolfgang Schmidt leading the charge alongside Maria Gonzalez, cars 27, and car 11. The two drivers with a lot to prove. Gonzalez being the former midfield master, and Wolfgang Schmidt being being the nearly man, the man with the most races without a podium. Can he finally break that streak, and can Gonzalez help him get there? Time will tell with this new partnership. To tell the story of Enzo Medena's squad is to tell a long story, but in short, this team with their V12 turbocharged engines provided by Lamborghini slowly crawled their way up the order over many years before finally getting the right group of youth drivers along board and the right car to win the world championship. Those years have passed now, and they're back down in the midfield now. But with the new regulations and new drivers, Cars 33 of the Flying Rick DeGraff and the Spanish sensation Lucia Flores alongside him, they look to try and finally get back up the order and capture their former glory in gold. The Viking Heart Racing Team is a brand new outfit to the series, hailing from Denmark, and with a very flashy livery indeed, with an interesting lineup of drivers. Car 8, Samuel Blanc, the veteran, looking to try and help develop a new team to get up the grid, and alongside him is the odd pick of Alejandro Moreno, an all right driver, but mainly here, according to some rumors, of his paid driver status with his Venezuelan oil money backing the team. However, this team does have Hart Engineering backing them, and they've been making all the right noise about in preseason testing about having a decent engine and a decent little package. But their goal is to just be in the midfield this year, so it appears to be a development year for this new fledgling squad. Sauber BMW are back in the series, or more specifically, BMW is back with helping out Sauber once again. This team this team has always been a bit interesting, as they've gone back and forth up and down the order, and mostly being in the midfield. However, BMW are making all the right noises, especially with their V10 engines, and Sauber look to try and fix what's been broken for a long time. Their engine, mainly their poor aerodynamics and their poor engineering room. Hiring brand new engineers, including a lead designer, is a good start, and also having BMW's engine experience on board. They're looking to try and slowly get back up the order. They don't plan to be there for a while, but they're making all the right noises with car 9, Siri Lundqvist, and car 12, Esteban Ribeiro. Asia Road Racing Team, a brand new team to the series, with Rick Casserly, car 23, and car 31, Sinajono Hamrin. Rick Castley did the bulk of the testing for this new upstart team, with Hammer doing a little bit of work, and even a surprise appearance from their reserve driver and potential prospect driver, Kayohisha Bashir from Japan. This team has a long way to go to get to the front. They're not being overly optimistic for this season, making just stating that they want to get a few points on the board and simply make the car and facilities better as the year goes on. With new team principal Sakon Yamamoto at the helm, a former driver in his own right, they look to try and do that. But rumors are approaching that Shearer could be in the car, as Rick Cassidy has had a falling out with the chairman. Troubling times could be ahead for this rookie team. To tell Ford's history in the series is to tell a long novel as well. Not as long as Rossini's, of course, but it's a long story nonetheless. But they are back for the first time in almost a decade, and with the Firestorm Junior outfit from the American leagues. This new partnership looks to try and take on the series with a very stunning car, but their driver lineup leaves a lot of questions. With Britain Jeremy Woodford, car 98, and Iker Vidal in car 99. These two drivers don't have a lot of potential, according to pundits, but Vidal brings a lot of testing experience, and Woodford brings pay driver money to help out the team. Catorce Corsa, the second of the two new teams on the grid, and this team has had a very tumultuous time getting ready for the season. With Prater Attia suffering a massive testing crash, which has not left him in a very good condition going into the season opener. Alongside his teammate and also son of the owner, Kofi Koro. Attia suffered not one but two mishaps. A black eye due to an off track incident where he hit his head against something in the pit lane, and also a pit fire, and also a fire after a massive crash in practice, where he lost his rear wing, spun off the track, and crashed into a wall, in which the car promptly caught fire. He's okay, but he might need to sit out the first round at Doha for Aurel Mazzario. Whereas Kofi Koro equally suffered a massive crash as well, losing the front right suspension on his car in almost the exact same location as his teammate Attia did, and crashing headfirst into the wall, suffering whiplash in the process. He's in a bit better shape than Attia is, but neither driver appear to be very healthy going into the season opener. Mazzario might be getting a big workout indeed in the reserve driver slot. However, Attia, who's running car number 45, and Kofi Koro running the usually reserved for testing number of 42, look to try and be ready for the season opener. If not, car 49 of Mazzario will take their place instead for the opener. And onto the calendar for the season. The season will start as usual at the Doha Grand Prix, leading into the second round of the season in Yokohama at the end of March. The ever-beloved Beijing and Tondela circuits are round 3 and 4 for the series, with Tondela being a fan favorite, especially for Iker Vidal and Javier Vasquez. With the Black Sea Grand Prix, Surakov's territory, in late May, and then the Munich Grand Prix to kick off June, where many drivers are German. The ever-loved Cape Town Grand Prix on the south coast of Africa is at the end of June, followed by the mid-season point of the Guildford Grand Prix in July. The only race in July, in fact, before the Milan Grand Prix starts the autumn tour in August, followed by the third of the high-speed circuits of Ardennes, and then the fourth high-speed circuit in a row of Phoenix, a run of 4 engine braking tracks in a row. Followed then into the Americas tour with Vancouver following Phoenix, then the flyaway events in Singapore, Sydney, Rio de Janeiro, and then the season finale at the dreadfully dusty circuit of Dubai to finish off the season. The rules are fairly stable going into the season, with the main notes being the new engine formula, allowing a 4-liter engine with KERS or hybrid technology involved on the engines at the manufacturer or team's choices. All teams have gone with a KERS design for the first season, as agreed upon, to prevent costs from being too high. The rumors are a hybrid technology could be added in future seasons for some of the teams. Although most teams are keeping a simple hybrid system rather than going for a very fancy high-tech solution. But with the season starting soon,